Alright, what's going on guys, the Saiyan17 here and welcome to my second Let's Talk Spider-Man PlayStation 4 video. The last time I did one of these, we talked about the trailer and the major things that were shown in the trailer, like Spider-Man's new costume, the references to Mr. Negative, and also the city itself. Now, unfortunately, since the last video, there hasn't been any big updates or new information or any new screenshots, so I don't have anything we can really break down at this point, but I did promise that I would talk about the gameplay, so I will do that in a bit. Hopefully some new things will be released to us in the coming weeks, but there is one minor thing that I can talk about before discussing the gameplay. There are still some people who believe that the reveal trailer was CGI and that it was running on the upcoming PlayStation 4 Neo. Thankfully, the developers themselves, Insomniac Games, actually came out on Twitter and confirmed that everything we saw in the trailer was running in-game, in-engine, and also in real time. And on top of that, the footage was also from the current PlayStation 4 console and not the upcoming upgraded version PS4 Neo. So all those people who were saying it's CGI and whatnot, you were all wrong, and that is not the case at all. And to be completely honest, I'm very happy about that because the graphics do look amazing and the game isn't even complete yet. It just goes to show that this isn't a lazy attempt at a Spider-Man game just to promote some new type of movie. It's actually a big budget AAA Spider-Man game, and that actually has never been done before. So once again, this is really freaking exciting. Now moving on to the main discussion of this video, the gameplay. Now obviously we don't really have an actual gameplay demo or showcase, nothing of that nature. We did see like 1-second shots of Spider-Man doing things, for example him smashing some dude with a box, which I think confirms that you will in fact be able to interact with objects around you, like the previous games. We saw Spider-Man running through the coffee shop, which looked incredibly smooth, and every bit of animation in that scene was like spot on. We saw Spider-Man do a web zip type attack on an enemy, which looked very painful. And we also had a quick shot of him swinging through the city, which made it look like that this might actually be the most realistic swinging ever in a Spider-Man game. The webs are actually sticking to the buildings and not the sky, which is nice to see, but that's pretty much all I can say about this trailer and the gameplay that was shown in it. Even though this trailer showed us in-game footage and it showed us bits and pieces of Spider-Man's traversal, it was done in a very cinematic way, so it's difficult for me to say how these things would actually look like when we're playing the game. On top of that, there are still lots of things missing, like Spider-Man crawling on walls, and also a look at the fighting system. So unfortunately, I can't really break anything down in today's video. I think I'll need to wait for an actual gameplay showcase or a gameplay demo like they did with God of War. I want to see Spider-Man being controlled by a player and actually jumping from rooftops and stuff, running on the ground and punching people in the face. So hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get a developer gameplay showcase, even if it's like 5 minutes long. I don't think I would mind that at all. But yeah, there's just not much to say right now. But that doesn't mean I can't talk about what I personally want to see in the game. Now you guys know I've been wanting a Spider-Man game like this for many years. And ever since the dawn of the Batman Arkham games, I've seen thousands of people leave comments saying, why can't Rocksteady make a Spider-Man game like this? Or why can't another developer just take the Freeflow Combat system and put it into a Spider-Man game? And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. Freeflow Combat. Now personally, my two favorite Spider-Man combat systems are from Shattered Dimensions and Web of Shadows. I think those two games were solid for when they came out, and you also have to remember the fact that they weren't very big budget games, so it was actually quite impressive what they could do. Now let's talk about the combat system in a game like Shattered Dimensions compared to the Batman Freeflow Combat system. Both games start you off with basic moves. For example, in the Arkham games you can hit, counter, and stun, and you also have the ability to use your basic gadgets. And that's all. And as you progress in the game, you can unlock more moves with different inputs, you can unlock more gadgets, you can unlock upgrades for those gadgets, and also new finishing moves. And it's the same way in Shattered Dimensions. When you start off, you only have basic moves like square, triangle, square, or square, square, triangle. I'm just making random stuff up, but you get the point. And just like the Arkham games, there is a progression system, so you can actually learn more attacks and do different moves as you progress. So both games have many layers to their fighting system. Now the problem is that games like Shattered Dimensions will give you, for example, like 40 different combos, right? Now the problem is that the average player only ends up using like 5 to 10 of those moves. Why? Well, because number one, it looks cool on the screen, and number two, it's easy to do. So the players end up repeating the same combos the entire game. And what happens when you repeat the same combos? You're also repeating the same animation over and over again. And that's the type of stuff that makes games boring. And this is where the Arkham games change it up. The Freeflow Combat is so much more simple. You have one button to attack, one button to counter, and one button to stun. Whether or not you want to use your finishing moves or your gadgets is entirely up to you. So the system is actually very easy to get into, and when you learn it, you can actually do some pretty cool combos with it. On top of that, I don't know how many of you have actually played the Arkham games, but one thing you'll notice is that the game has this system where it automatically randomizes the animations. So when you see Batman just bouncing off of one person to the next, you'll notice that even though you're just tapping one button, the animations are all different. The first guy he's punching, the second guy he's dropping with his elbow, the third guy he's giving a roundhouse kick to. It's all random, and that's what makes the game, that's what makes the system so unique. Like I said, number one, it's easy to get into, and number two, it looks awesome on the screen just watching Batman take out like 20 different people without getting hit. It gives the game much more of a cinematic feel, but you're actually controlling everything. Because of these reasons, the gameplay doesn't get stale over time, and that's why even when you finish the game, you can jump into the the combat challenges and just destroy people. Now with that being said, would the Arkham Freeflow Combat work in a Spider-Man game? And my answer to that is kind of. For those of you who have played The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, which were the last two Spider-Man games, you know that those two games tried to mimic the Freeflow Combat. And in my opinion, they did an alright job at it. It wasn't complete garbage, but it wasn't something outstanding either. And here's why. The Freeflow Combat works perfectly with Batman. Why? Because it's designed for Batman. Like I said before, this system is basic and complex at the same time. Batman can not only punch and kick people, but he also has more than 10 different gadgets that all work differently. So just imagine all the different variations and things you can mix up. The system essentially lets you create your own combos, and it works perfectly in that game. But when you take that system and put it into a Spider-Man game, it doesn't work properly because Spider-Man can't do those same things. He doesn't have any gadgets to use. For him, it's just punching, kicking, and using his webs. So that level of creativity, that level of freedom is automatically not there anymore. All you're doing is just punching and countering attacks, and that's fun for a few missions, but it does get boring very quickly. So now all of these things bring me to the conclusion of my video. Do I want to see a free flow inspired fighting system in the new PS4 Spider-Man video game? And my honest answer is no. I do not want to see that happen, and let me give you the reasons as to why. I'm sure everyone here has watched the new Batman v Superman movie, right? In that movie, there is a scene where Batman is taking out thugs inside a room, and that fight scene is literally the Arkham games brought to life. That's exactly how Batman fights. His fights are all up close and personal because he's a martial artist. His whole style is basically neutralizing his opponents, and he is a very grounded fighter. And that's why that gameplay style works for him, because it's just him bouncing off of one guy to the next. Spider-Man, on the other hand, is the complete opposite of that. I don't know how many people here have watched Spider-Man cartoons or read Spider-Man fight scenes in the comic books, but there are two very important things when it comes to Spider-Man's fighting style. Number one is movement, and number two is agility. Spider-Man is constantly moving. It doesn't matter if it's him traveling through the city or him fighting a bunch of bad guys. He is always moving. He's punching people in the face, then jumping over them, then climbing walls and web zipping off the wall to kick another person in the face, then jumping into the air and then shooting down webs. It's beautiful chaos watching him fight. And I just don't think that the free flow combat system is able to do all of that simply because it's too grounded. When you see that system being used in a Batman game, you never see him jump. In fact, there isn't even a jump button. When you press X, he simply dives into a roll over the enemy. It's used for creating more space than actually jumping. So when you translate this system into a Spider-Man game, it just does not work properly. And also in The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, it felt very slow. That should not be the case because Spider-Man is multiple times faster than Batman. This dude has dodged bullets at close range with his reflexes, so that should never be the problem. Also, Insomniac has confirmed that the Spider-Man we're going to be playing as in the new game will be a much more experienced Spider-Man. So it won't be an origin story where he's learning his powers. This is going to be him when he's mastered his craft. So I am expecting a lot more from Spider-Man when it comes to the fighting department. So basically my closing statement would be that with this upcoming Spider-Man game, I would like to see Insomniac give us something new. From the interviews and stuff that I've been watching, it seems that they are paying very close attention to the traversal aspects of the game, which is definitely a good thing. So hopefully they can find a way to blend that into the fighting system, because in my opinion, I don't think we've ever had a game that truly captures the way that Spider-Man actually fights. So yeah, that's all I can really say for now, guys. Once again, there hasn't been any big updates on the game yet, but if there are in the near future, I will be sure to cover them. In the meantime, if there is anything else you want me to talk about concerning this game, let me know in the comment section and I will be more than happy to make a video on it. Let me know your thoughts on everything I talked about in this video. And thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.